Hello, children. It's Grandma Carla with more of Skylark by Patricia Maclaclan, and this is Chapter 10. We traveled 3 days and nights on the train across the dry prairies. We passed packed wagons. We passed through towns and cities. We slept to the clackety sound of the train and woke up with the red sun. Caleb was excited, looking out the window. Sarah was tired and sad. Sometimes I read to her from my journal. When Sarah came, she wore a yellow bonnet, I read. She brought seal to us. The corn was high, and the wheat all yellow. We lay down with the sheep in the fields, and Sarah taught us how to swim. When they were married, my mother, Sarah, wore a dress soft like mist and a veil. I think Papa cried. Sarah turned to me. "Did he?" she asked, her voice soft. "Did he cry?" I smiled, and Sarah closed her eyes. I covered her with a shawl. We went over a bridge, the river, shining in the sun. Caleb turned from the window. "Sarah?" Sarah opened her eyes. "Is this the way you came?" he asked. Sarah looked out at the land. "Yes, Caleb," she said softly. "This is the way I came." Maine was green. When we got off the train, Sarah stood still. She looked at the train station and at the trees and at the people. "Sarah," I said. "It's all right, Anna," said Sarah. "It's just what you wrote in your book. I've come back to what I first knew." "Sarah! Sarah Wheaton!" A man waved to Sarah. He wore a vest and a gold chain across it. Sarah smiled. "Chub," she said, "you're still here." The man hugged Sarah. "Where would I be," he said, "except dead, maybe. Are the hens meeting you?" Sarah laughed. "No, and I'm Sarah Whitting now. These are my children, Anna and Caleb. Can you take us there?" "Get in." We got in Chub's car, open all around, with shining brass trim and wood on the side. "I've never been in a car before," whispered Caleb. "It's about time you were," said Chub. "Want to drive?" "No," said Caleb, looking alarmed, and then he smiled at Chub. "I won't tell the ants you call them hens, either." Chub laughed. He started the car. We passed green grass and green trees and flowers blooming in green gardens as we drove to the house where Sarah had lived. And then we saw the sea. "All that water," said Caleb, running down the lawn of the aunt's house. Sarah and I looked out over the water, at cliffs that went down to the sea, at birds that flew over us, at boats with white sails like clouds. "Come on," said Sarah after a moment. She took our hands. "Let's go meet the ants." We walked up the lawn to the house. The house was large with shutters on the windows. There were gardens with flowers I had never seen before. "Will they like us?" asked Caleb. "They will love you," said Sarah, laughing. "They will fall upon you with kisses." We walked up the steps of the big porch. Sarah put out her hand to open the door, but it swung open, and a woman in a silk dress stood there, her feet bare. Her eyes widened when she saw us. Her hand went up to her mouth. Sarah smiled. "Hello, Maddie," she said softly. "We're home." The ants laughed and cried and fed us. "I loved your letters," said Aunt Maddie. "I loved all the pictures you drew." She kissed Sarah and Caleb, and she kissed me, and then she kissed Sarah again. Aunt Harriet, tall with wire glasses, in bare feet too, tried to feed us all the food in the kitchen. "I made these cookies, Anna, Caleb," she said. "Are you tired? I made the bread, too, and the soup. Do you want a nap? Do you want a bath?" "Harriet, let them be," said Aunt Maddie. Sarah leaned over close to us. "See," she said, "I told you." And then Aunt Lou, dressed in overalls and high boots, came in the front door with her dog. "Lou," said Sarah. Aunt Lou hugged Sarah. She hugged me. Mind that beast, said Aunt Harriet. The beast's name is Brutus, said Aunt Lou. Lou works with animals, said Aunt Harriet. Lou works with a veterinarian, said Aunt Lou. She kissed Caleb twice. Harriet wants me in silk and pearls. Brutus jumped up on Caleb's lap. Oh, get away, scolded Aunt Harriet. Dogs like me, said Caleb, smiling. We have two dogs at home. This is what we've needed all along, a child, said Aunt Lou, hugging Caleb. We must get ourselves one. It looks like we have two, said Aunt Mattie softly. Sarah, said Aunt Harriet, will Jacob be coming too? Sarah looked out the window. No, she said softly. Jacob won't be coming. Papa's home, I said. Somehow hearing my own words made it worse. I started to cry. Sarah put her arms around me and I cried harder. Papa had to stay home. Maine is green and full of voices and people laughing and talking, the tide going in and going out, the moon rising above the water. Sarah loves it here. The last thing every night she walks by the water, and the first thing in the morning she is there too. Now I know how much she misses her old home. I miss my home. I miss Lottie and Nick and the land and the big sky. I miss Papa. That is the end of chapter 10. And this is Grandma Carla, and I love you.